With me, it's very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they did that, they would be obliterated.
A moment that could define global history. A decision that could tip the balance of power in the Middle East. On March 7th, 2025, President Donald Trump sent a letter to Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, demanding he stops making nuclear weapons and they come to an agreement on how Iran uses its nuclear energy. Or else. A 2-month deadline has been set by President Trump, expected to conclude on May 7th, 2025. But how did we get here, and what happens next?
Welcome to the Love.
For decades, the relationship between the United States and Iran has been one of tension, conflict, and mistrust. Before 1979, the United States and the Iranian government had a strong relationship. Both nations were part of the Allied forces during World War II.
The peaceful invasion is watched with interest by Iranian soldiers.
And soon after, in 1953, the CIA and MI6 led a coup to remove the democratically elected prime minister with someone they had chosen, General Fazlollah Zahedi, who pushed Western interests within Iran. Despite the governments having a great relationship, there was significant unrest with the people of Iran, who believed this was a betrayal of their sovereignty. The unrest culminated in the 1979 Iranian Revolution, which toppled the Shah and brought in the Islamic Republic of Iran. 8 months later, Iranian students seized the American embassy in Tehran, holding 53 American diplomats hostage for 444 days. This crisis was followed by economic sanctions by the United States. Iraq, under Saddam Hussein, took the instability in Iran to invade. After chemical attacks, burning cities to the ground and torturing their people, all crimes against humanity, Iran realized they would not receive any help from the United Nations. After the war, Iran resumed development of their nuclear program, originally stating it was for civilian energy needs, but expanding over time. The U.S. and the UN imposed severe sanctions, aiming to cripple Iran's economy so it could not create weapons-grade uranium. Yet, even as their coffers ran dry, Iran continued their nuclear program in secret. This raised major concerns, and the international community, led by 6 world powers, engaged in extensive negotiations with Iran. The result? The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, also known as the Iran nuclear deal, was a landmark agreement that imposed significant restrictions on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for relief from economic sanctions. In essence, stop trying to make a nuke, and we'll let you come out of poverty. This was what Donald Trump thought of the deal.
That deal is an embarrassment to the United States.
It's defective at its core. The dumbest deal that you can imagine.
Trump believes that the deal
It was a giant fiction.
and that it was stupid to believe.
That a murderous regime desired only a peaceful nuclear energy program.
He states that
We have definitive proof that this Iranian promise was a lie.
Trump has evidence showing that Iran has
History of pursuing nuclear weapons.
hiding their facilities thousands of miles underground. Trump's main concern?
We will not allow a regime that chants death to America to gain access to the most deadly weapons on earth.
Leading us to 2018, where Trump announced that he was pulling the United States out of the Iran nuclear deal.
I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
And reimposing his maximum pressure campaign to force Iran into negotiating. Fast forward to 2025. President Trump sent a letter to Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, proposing new negotiations that would prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons and allow them to reintegrate in the global economy. He expressed hope for a peace deal,
Hopefully we can have a peace deal, I'm done.
but has set a 2-month deadline, agreed to tougher nuclear agreements, or else. This was Khamenei's response to the letter. He says no Iranian officials will negotiate with the US and accuses them of using bullying tactics to try and get Iran to become weaker. He finished his speech by saying, if they wanted to develop nuclear weapons, America could not stop them. This is not the first time a US president has issued an ultimatum to a Middle Eastern power. Saddam Hussein defied a similar warning from President Bush, refusing to fully comply with demands for weapons inspections. The result?
On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war.
However, the US approach to Iran today is different. Rather than an immediate military intervention, Trump's ultimatum leverages economic pressure and diplomatic isolation to force Iran's hand.
You don't have the cards right now.
As the deadline looms, the world faces a critical question. Will Iran comply, or will tensions spiral into open conflict? One ultimatum, 2 paths, diplomacy or war. The world is watching.